and he wanted me to sing on it. It should be, it's a benefit album, and he wanted me to sing some verse lines together with a lot of other singers like Jeroen Harmers, Norman also from the Flanders, Peter Sandorf is in there, Alan Wilson, yeah, so a lot of names. So, we're back with this portrait of me, kindly done by
Psychobilly Records, yeah.
In this edition, number 3, which is the last one, I will be talking about Johnny Nightmare. I will talk about Hopeless Chicken Freaks. I will talk about what I do now with my sculpturing and stuff like that. And then I will talk about what I'm about to do in the future regarding music, mostly. So to kind of add up what I was talking about in the first and the second part was I've been talking about how I got inspired and try to pinpoint what experiences and what things in my life that got me to play the music that I play and how. Yeah, to add it up, it's like this. I really like this simple kind of music, but yet with some smart details and some spices. Yeah, but for me the most important thing is a good melody. Yeah. So. The last part I was telling about how I got to meet the guys from Johnny Nightmare, Butch and Elving, Count Elving, Björn and Jakob, the first lineup, and quickly started to rehearse. We rehearsed at the Spencer rehearsing room, the band I played in, also at that time actually, but soon left because Johnny Nightmare became my main thing. And yeah, the first time we rehearsed, we actually we wrote a song called Rage, and yeah, never released. I was really rusty, and Butch was a really great guitarist already at that point, but still he used to play a lot of punk music, and so there was a lot of clean chords and stuff like that. Actually, the kind of style that I played myself, really. Yeah, and Jakob was really blinding drummer. That was really good. And so, like from the first rehearsal, we thought, yeah, we need to work with this, but this is gonna be really cool. And we rehearsed there a few times and wrote some more songs. A song called I Come Alive, also not recorded ever. Then we changed the rehearsal room, and things went really fast from there on. And as I said before, with the other bands I played in was more like coincidence and a lot of testing things and trying things. I felt that at this point of starting in Johnny Nightmare, it was I was more experienced and a better musician. I would say that I could even call myself a musician at that time, really, yeah. And yeah, so we just wrote a lot of songs together. Butch had so many good ideas. I was still a bit rusty. I needed to polish my writing skills, but it soon came back, and I wrote songs like yeah, Restless and Gallow Birds, some songs I'm really proud of, and also Butch, especially Butch, did a lot of work on those songs as well. And at the time, Butch wanted me to help out with so he could play more psychobilly, and he always joke about that in the beginning he was in psychobilly school, but that was like for a couple of days, and then he just exploded. He's my he's my favorite guitar player in the whole psychobilly scene. He's so talented, and he's so active, and he's so thoroughly with everything he's doing. Like before every show we played, he ran through the whole set alone on guitar in the backstage room. Really nerdy about things, really good, and a great songwriter as well. It was really quickly that we discovered that here we had something really great.
I know my passion is with you, for whom I will be true. You will always be in my heart. So sorry, have to go to the gallows.
Also, this time I tried to, I experienced to work on a new kind of way that we agreed on. It was like to also have a more lyric side to it, and we wanted to create like a universe that we could. So we kind of wrote all the songs in this universe. Also, Butch was studying at the time. I had my twins at the 10 months of age, so it was limited with time, but it was about to when you had the time to really do something great. We kind of, not that we actually ever wrote it down or like wrote a story, but we just talked a lot about it, and we kind of invented this story about, because both Butch and I was really interested in psychology as well, and also this, of course, the psychobilly universe, horror and science fiction and stuff like that. Yeah, it came also out of the name, Johnny Nightmare. We spent a whole day texting each other about what we were supposed to be called. The first name was Psychobilly Cadillac, but it was a pretty okay working title in the beginning. But then Butch came up with this idea of Johnny Nightmare, and I just had to think about it for a couple of minutes, and then yeah, this is a great name, because like yeah, we had Johnny from the 50s, Johnny name, Johnny Cash, and so on. Nightmare, of course, a great word, and Johnny and Nightmare, so the 50s, and yeah, you get it. Psychobilly. That was back in the MySpace days. Facebook was also there, but we were on MySpace, and we invented these characters. Johnny Nightmare was, of course, the main character, and then there was his granddad. He's also mentioned a couple of times in the lyrics. Granddad is sitting in his wheelchair in the graveyard, and he's living at his granddad's home in the Restless song. So there was Lucy, was this friend of his from his childhood, and then there was we needed the villain also, the bad guy, and he was called the Boss. So, and okay, so we also to try and play with it. I don't know if people ever caught the idea, but we had a profile made for each person on MySpace, and they were our friends on the Johnny Nightmare MySpace profile. And in that way, you could on MySpace, you were writing on each other's walls. You could also send private messages, and so they were like writing each other and like, I miss you, Lucy, please help me, blah blah blah. And the boss would write him and say, I'm gonna kill you next time I see you, and stuff like that. That was really fun. And we made a lot of fake pictures of his like school photos. We found some school photos from the 50s, and I remember I put in the face of Jakob, the drummer. It was really fun. The biggest benefit with this idea was that we could actually write songs in each place. You know, like we kind of had this story and this idea for the first album, that it was the birth of Johnny Nightmare and how he was raised and stuff like that. Every time when for me, also for Butch, when you get a good idea, it's the music first, and it's the melody line first. So if I came up with, for example, an idea and it was a little melancholic or so, that could be an idea for writing some part of this history, of this story, right? So it like I could write Butch and say, oh, I got this idea. It's a little mellow song, you know. Maybe I could grab this part of the story, and he would go like, yeah. He would say, oh, I'm also working on that, or blah blah. So in that way, we very quickly wrote the songs for the first album. Apart from the two first songs I mentioned earlier, Rage and I Come Alive, all the next songs were actually just straight for the album. We tried to record it ourselves. We bought some drum microphones, and I had a computer and some good equipment, and we tried to record the drums in a rehearsal room, and it was pretty okay, but it wasn't that good. At the same time, we started to get some gigs, mostly local gigs, and I started to take contact to my dear old friend Guido Neumann at Crazy Love Records. And he got the demo and he liked it, and yeah, we agreed to sign. And the first show we played abroad was in Flensburg at the Roxy, together with Danish Tacky Tones and the Quakes. And it was kind of a funny debut, because there was a lot of rockabillys there. And we played way too fast because we were so nervous at the first gig. So yeah, but anyway, it went down pretty okay. And when we came home, we had more shows. We started to make a long relationship with the Hungarian psychobilly act, the Silvershine, and became very close friends with them. we started to record the first album. First, we tried to record everything ourselves, as I said before, with the drums in the rehearsal room. And we took it to a guy called Jakob, metal legend. He's got a studio called Dead Rat. And we thought that maybe he could help out to get a more modern sound. So we didn't have like the old school recording style of Psychobilly. Yeah, Jakob made a test mix with the drums recorded in the rehearsal room, and yeah, it didn't really work out. So we decided to do all the drums in the studio, in his studio, and then we recorded everything else at home. I had a good, very expensive vocal microphone, and Butch just played directly into a computer, and then when everything was being mixed, Jakob was reamping. Like he actually just took the line out and put it into a real amp and put a microphone in front of it, and then just recorded it again. And that gave us the opportunity again to work when we had the time for it. And that was really cool. And it was also cheaper. So yeah, so we recorded the first album, Here's Johnny, like that. It came out great. It was released, of course, on Crazy Love Records. Shortly after that, we were booked for the second Psychomania festival in Potsdam, Germany.
Neither dead nor alive. He's a vampire.
Well, I come from a small town, I have killed all the people I know. So I come to the big city, spread the horror, and let the blood flow. Well, the worms in the ground are calling my name, but I'm still right here. I wanna hear you scream, I wanna see you die. So bye bye, my dear. Well, I live my life like a vampire in the sun, and I'm gonna do my thing from then I'm gone. Well, I hide in the dark and the rain goes down the dreams.
And that was really cool, because that was the first time that we were out there, and we've been talking about also, because we knew that there was this Godless with Creeps ghost, and we talked about a lot if we should play a few songs, and Matt.Cole was he just came out at that point, did a great debut album, but also played some Crewman songs. But in the end, we just agreed on not playing any Godless with Creeps songs, and we wanted to have our own identity, because when we started to put up things on MySpace, a lot of people wrote and said, "Oh, it's great, you're back, blah blah blah," and stuff like that. And that was really nice, you know. So we went to Potsdam. It was the third day, and because we were there the whole second day, and we saw all the bands, and we were playing third position, I think. And the two first, also even the third band on the second day didn't get much audience. So we were a little bit nervous about this. And the album was just released, and only a few people could have had it at that time. So the first band was playing, the opening band. I was just out watching it, and there was like no people. And then just before we had to get on, I went into the venue to get something, and there was getting more people. And just when the second band was finished playing, a lot of people came in. And then when we got on stage, the whole venue was just packed, and we were just there for the Lions. That was really cool. We played 2 songs, opening songs, without breaks, and then after the second song was finished, boom, you know, and the people were going, yeah, you know, and I was saying something like, "We're Johnny Nightmare from Denmark, blah blah blah," and a lot of people were shouting for masturbation and "We are rockers" and stuff like that. And I never regret stuff that I did, but I must say I was a little bit too hasty with, I was just saying, I kind of regret that after. But anyway, we kind of clearly made our point that this is Johnny Nightmare and this is it. We played a great set and we didn't have time for extras, and when we played the last song we went out and it was just a standing applause, you know, and wow, Johnny Nightmare was on the way. Yeah, soon after that, maybe it was good for us anyway, but a good friend of ours, Jakob the drummer, a great drummer, and he chose to leave the band because his other band, Cola Freaks, were having a lot more success and you had a lot more opportunity to play in that band. So we tried to find another drummer, which is hard to find psychobilly musicians in a small city like Aarhus. We played one time with a band called the Surf and Henchmen, and the lead guitarist Alan we knew a little bit, and we were thinking about Rune, the drummer of that band. So we rang him up and he said, "Oh man, I've got too many projects, and yeah, it's like, why don't you call Alan? He's actually also a drummer, and he's even better than me." So we rang Alan. He said, "Yeah, I'm a bit rusty, but let's give it a go." And we sent him a few songs, and we got him in for rehearsal, and it was perfect. That was really lucky because he's one hell of a good drummer. Really fast, really hard, really tight, and actually a couple of times when we played shows, he was told by the sound engineer if he could play a little lower. And he was like, "No, I can't." So yeah. At that time we were talking with a Finnish band called Vulture Club. They contacted us and asked if we wanted to do a split EP. 3 songs each. We just had the songs roughly done. Butch had written Dagalov, who's also that song is also on the Psychobilly Scarecrow, and Vultures Above, and I wrote Desert Praise, and but Alan got in at the right moment to put on his magic touch to this, right, and that was really cool. Yeah, from there on, more tours. We worked a lot with, as I said earlier, the Silver Shine, and I was also very early in the Johnny Nightmare band history contacted by Mr. Johnny Longneck of Longneck Records. He was just a young guy contacting me. "I really like Godless Wicked Creeps. I can see you're doing something again. It sounds great." And I was like, yeah. He was playing in a band called the Acting Apes. He came from Leipzig in the Thüringen area in Germany, and he managed to book us a lot of shows, and that was really good. He booked a lot of shows with us and the Silver Shine. He even had this label where he also recorded a Silver Shine album and released that. So there were some really good workmates, and that was really great. As I mentioned earlier, Johnny Nightmare was the best band I ever been playing in, and the best process and everything about this was so great. Also, the second album that I'm gonna talk about right now, the Psychobilly Scarecrow, is definitely the best album I ever participated in doing. The first album, we had this story about how to create this real psycho, Johnny Nightmare, and he was on a little tour in the desert on the Vulture Club collaboration, walking around in the desert. And then we started to work on a story on the Psychobilly Scarecrow. Butch was a big fan, probably still is, of Sin City. And some of the ideas, like the visual part, not that because we are band, but was taken from there. Everything was dark, rainy, stuff like that. And we actually started we made a whole list of cool words that we could pick from also. In that way, we tried to make this challenge that we should write half each. Butch wrote maybe a song or two more than I did, and Alan wrote Out of My Grave. And that was really cool. And the idea was, as it a lot of times for a lot of bands is with album number 2, is that you want to create a more varied album. And we wanted to put some more variation and some more different tempos and different kinds of songs into it. We didn't quite manage to do that. Luckily, we ended up writing, Shoot and Take No Prisoners songs, and instead of having this varied, it is varied album. There is also some different tempos, a couple of slower songs, but it's really it's really hysterical in a way, and it's like 35 minutes of complete rage and terror. And so when we mixed the album, we chose to put all the songs together with almost no breaks or gaps, and then spiced it with some few sound effects. Yeah. So when it came out, I was really proud of this, and I still am today. I actually sometimes play it myself. I mean, I do listen to some of my own music, but I really enjoy listening to this album. If I'm driving in my car, or I even tried a few times alone just to drink some beers and just turn it up and have these 35 minutes of, I really like that. Yeah. Yeah, well, then it just kept on going with more tours, more shows. We got better and better shows. Played a lot in Germany. Had some really cool follow in Denmark also, which is kind of a tough thing. In the other countries, we went to England, Finland, Russia, Poland, Sweden, and all this with 3 kids. For my sake, but also at this time Butch moved to Copenhagen, so only Alan and I could rehearse, and it did make it a bit harder. But we actually managed to write album number 3, Kicking Satan Out of Hell. We also had Peter Sandorf on vocals. And also talking about guest vocals on the other albums, also we had this guy called Daniel, a very good friend of ours, who's a really good singer, and he put some extra vocals on some of our tracks as well. And I also started flirting a little bit with a side project with him called the CIRCUS from Hell. A Circus from Hell was an idea that it was supposed to be like different singers, and we had some different ones in mind, but it never really became anything. everything has to come to an end, and Johnny Nightmare was no exception. Mostly, yeah, we had a few. We toured so much, and we spent so much time together, and we were beginning to have a little. It was a little hard time in the band, but for me it was especially challenging with my small kids, and yeah, and for me it also ended in a divorce, not because of the band, but because of some other reasons. And that was just when the third album, Kicking Satan Out of Hell, got released. I needed to quit the band. It was too much. Everything was too much. I needed to figure out a way to how to deal with my personal situation and stuff like that. And it was really shitty, and I don't blame them. The other guys were a little bit pissed on me as well, I guess. But yeah, that was a decision, and it was shit. But that was the only thing I could do. So that was the end of Johnny Nightmare. We're good friends now, though. We actually didn't meet ever since. It's actually 10 years ago. But I recently did a model of Stormtroopers of Love, which is Butch and Alan from Johnny Nightmare, and they just did this debut album that is taking Psychobilly to a higher level, in my opinion. I really love that album, and I really wish these guys the best. And yeah. Yeah, as I said, during the whole Johnny Nightmare period, I became really close friends with Johnny Longneck of Longneck Records, and also in the end of Johnny Nightmare, we made this band called the Hopeless Chicken Freaks. After Johnny Nightmare, we made this EP, but we also played a few live shows. We actually supported Johnny Nightmare on a tour in Germany, which was really fun. We actually played a few Godless songs there as well, and that was really cool and really fun. I knew that Johnny was a huge Godless Wicked Creeps fan, and which brings me on to the greatest honor I ever achieved. Was this tribute album to the Godless Wicked Creeps that he actually did, and he just told me about it when he got all the. I didn't know anything about it until it was there, you know. At least he got the bands and everything, and we also recorded the Abyss, the Godless Wicked Creeps song together as the Hopeless Chicken Freaks. That was also good fun, actually. I got so much to thank Johnny for. It was so amazing that he did this, and listening to this album with all these great bands playing their own version of songs that I or we wrote together back then was so astonishing. You know, it small details in the songs that we didn't care about, that was just a coincidence or so, they highlight it because that's something that they listen to from the song, that they hear and that they discovered, and some details that they really like. And I mean, I said it so many times, I wrote every band, but if you're watching this, thanks again. That was so amazing. Wow. Must have been in 2020 during the first or the second lockdown, but yeah, in the winter time we spent a lot of time at home, my wife and I. And when I was a kid, I was doing models, plastic kits, stuff like that. And I did some even back then. I did a model of Glenn Danzig from the Legacy of Brutality sleeve, and I did also Psychobilly sitting drinking beer in a graveyard, resting up against the tomb. I also always had a big interest in history, especially like the Napoleonic Wars and World War I and Second World War. And my wife asked, maybe we should find some stuff to do at home sometimes in these weekends when we can't go out. And I was like, yeah. So we went to a hobby shop and bought all this stuff. And I had some old models lying, and I just finished them, and it was pretty good fun. Then I came up with the idea of making music models. I made a model of Martin Gore from Depeche Mode. I made a model of Dave Gahan, but it looked more like Morrissey. So it turned out to be a Morrissey model instead. Until I came up with the idea to make the first Quakes album, the whole scene, like they did from the Stray Cats album, and that was really fun. And I just posted it on Instagram, some stories, and you can try and see if you can guess what it is. And then somebody began to write, oh, it's the first Quakes album, and whoa, that was really fun, and had a lot of talks with people about it, Yeah, all of a sudden, Paul Roman of the Quakes contacted me and kind of commented on the way that I did Dave Yates because I made him a little buff, but he was a really young and skinny guy. And we just had some talks, and oh yeah, do you remember when we played there, and blah blah, we played together and stuff like that. And he kind of just worked on the side. He feeded me with a lot of details and told me some stories about how this picture was taken and stuff like that. I thought this is really fun because it adds like another dimension to it, And when I posted it, everybody was commenting this publish of this model. I even got Mr. Roman to write a few parts of You're Dead and Psychobilly Jekyll and Mr. Hyde that I put on the backside of the model. And and a new idea was born. So I just kept on doing it, actually. I work from home, and in my breaks I have time to work every day. And a lot of people are following my work. It's really fun, and I try to listen to some requests also, and it really gives me like also that it's when I publish these, it's like going on stage kind of. Not only relaxing for me and not only a hobby, but it's also this kind of kind of buzz every time that there's I put up a new model, and it's really cool. It's so positive, and it's really fun. I really enjoy it. I also did a model of the sharks, and was in contact through the whole process with Mr. Alan Wilson, and I had my model in his book. Great honor. Really fun. And for the last re-release of the first Schizo album, Schizomania, this is included inside. Wow. That's really fun. Yeah, now and music. I haven't been active since the EP with Hopeless Chicken Freaks came out, which is like 10 years ago. But then I had a few bands I've been working together with just for some advice and stuff like that. And but I haven't really also been playing music myself really that much. But then during the lockdown, the Flanders came up with this idea to make this cover song of the Pearly Spencer, an old 60s song, but also did in the 80s by Mark Almond. And he wanted me to sing on it. It's a benefit album, and he wanted me to sing some verse lines together with a lot of other singers like Jerome Harmers, Norman also from the FLANDERS, Peter Sandorf is in there, Alan Wilson, yeah, so a lot of names. And I recorded that. That's a long time ago, but it's just been released. The vinyl is not out yet, but that was sort of, that really gave me the idea of it was because, as I said during this whole portrait, what I really like is the writing process, and this kind of gave me the opportunity to just work on the song and just sing and then do nothing else, not go out on the road and play live, which is also fun, but it doesn't fit in with the life I live right now. I was also contacted by Moises of the Syndicates, who's also playing in Johnny Dharma and some other stuff from America, and I am singing a song on their first album and maybe a couple of lines also, and been working with them on the side for this album with some ideas for production and stuff like that. Really cool process. But the main cool thing that is happening right now is that I'm actually working on, I was contacted by Panu from the Graveyard Bashers, Finnish guy, and he was encouraged by Bad Billy Records, CIRCUS, to contact me and for this project he's doing with a lot of other people involved. For example, Vlad from 66 Sinners and Titch from the Klingons and some others. Yeah, the basic lineup for this project called De La Rocca is Panu himself, guitar player and songwriter, and the drummer called Von Chippendale, also from the Graveyard Bashers. And then Marv Falcon, a young bass player from Germany, played on a tour recently with the Brains from Canada on their tour in Germany. Really talented guy, really good bass player, and I've been working on this project for quite a long now, and I'm just working close with Panu, which is an excellent musician, really great guy. Got a lot of great ideas, and he's really into this project. So in the beginning, it actually just started with I was asked if I could sing on something that he wrote, and I asked him. I said, "Or if I'm gonna do this, I really like to write my own song." He was pretty cool with that, and he came up with a few chords, and that just kicked it off for me. And I just wrote a song really fast, and lyrics and everything just came up again, which was really fun. And so I wrote this song called Out of This World on the basic ideas of Panu. And he asked me also if I could do another song. So I wrote another song, so two songs. The first song I wrote was this Out of This World, fast, psychobilly, typical DAX Dragster style. And then I also wrote like a slower rockabilly kind of song called Planet Psycho. He also gave me some hints about what it could be about. We were talking about if there's like a main feature for lyrics, and he was just talking about this space kind of UFO stuff, and immediately got the idea of this guy in the 50s being like the world is not ready for him, you know. So like saying that psychobilly was invented in the 50s and kind of written on the same idea as One Piece at a Time by Johnny Cash, where he also mentions the word psychobilly for the first time probably. And instead of building a Cadillac, a psychobilly Cadillac, he's building a UFO. And the idea is that he spent some years building this UFO, and then he's just going away to Planet Psycho. And yeah, the idea of Planet Psycho is like, of course, the psychobilly culture and about wrecking and the psychobilly living. And yeah, so it's really a cool process. We're working on it right now, and it will be out hopefully early next year. But it's a big project, and it's really cool, and we already made all the demos, and right now we are recording the real stuff, and yeah, I'm just so excited about that. So that's gonna be one hell of a cool thing, and I'm really glad to be back in the music. So yeah, stay tuned, and I really hope you're gonna like it. Yeah, but at last, I just want to say thanks for all the people watching this program. Thank you for everything, Mr. Bad Belly Silco, to give me the opportunity to think about my life and what I've been doing and stuff like that. That has been a big gift. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Yeehaw!
Of the demon girl, out of this world, Uranus and Satan.